Welcome back to Full Speed Racing, and now it's time for some more from the F3 Cup.
Final race of the season then for the F3 Cup. It's been a really fantastic year, and what a way to finish with Antonio Fitzcosta on pole position. Alongside him we have got Tristan Cliff, and then row 2 Jeremy Timms and James Abbott. But who is going to prevail in this last race of the season? As the red lights come on, the revs build, they flash out, and away we go. And it's once more an electric getaway from Antonio Fitzcosta. Dare I say it, I suspect that's probably the last that we'll see of him as he romps off into the early advantage. Tristan Cliff in second position, his wheel tracks, and then third is James Abbott. Fourth, swooping around the outside, is Chris Needham as they all cleanly navigate Rich's corner for the first time. And Acosta running with the Carlin team this weekend pulls clear as Needham runs a little bit wide at the Montreal hairpin. He just about recovers in position. Everybody cleanly through these early stages. You can see it's very, very greasy, very slippery. All the cars running on wet tyres. It's going to take a little while for them to get up to temperature because it's also very, very chilly at Snetterton today. And therefore this first lap is one where they have to just be a little bit tentative as we catch a glimpse of the Masters class runner Juan Cerda there towards the back of the pack. So it's Tristan Cliff who leads the Cup class competitors as he works through August the first time. Antonio Fitzcosta already disappearing off into the horizon. Then we've got this battle shaping up very nicely between James Abbott and Chris Needham. Abbott in his first year in the F3 Cup. Chris Needham, who has been racing in the category for many seasons. And James Abbott's been getting steadily quicker as the year has gone on. It's really good to see him up challenging for podium positions. And then dropping a little bit further back, we've got Mark Harrison with Gino Ussi just on his tail. Out of Nelson, accelerating on towards the bomb hole. There is Chris Needham. You can see those grooved, treaded tyres trying to move the water, but in these conditions where it's damp, there isn't standing water, the wet tyres, they're more effective than slicks, obviously, but they're actually still very, very slippery and slick to drive on, so the drivers have to be careful. As Gino Ussi, there he is in number 16 car, plants his right foot, accelerates off in pursuit of Mark Harrison. And Gino has had a really good season. I really hope he comes back to the championship as well next year, because he is a driver who could well challenge for the crown. As he dives to the inside of Harrison, jinks out of the switch, has a look to the inside line into Rich's, no way through there past Mark Harrison, so they all accelerate out of Rich's, accelerating on towards the Montreal hairpin. James Abbott just at the moment begins to break away from Chris Needham, and this little group of cars running closely together. It's great to see such support for the F3 Cup. The team at Motor Propulsion Racing MSVR have all done an absolutely fantastic job this year to promote the championship and to encourage grids to be as healthy as they have been throughout the course of the season. As Mark Terry is in part of that leading group as Frank Thomas circulates in another very nice little dice. It's one of the beauties of having such a big grid is wherever you are on the field, there's always somebody to race with. Unfortunately, the racing a bit too intense for Prajesh Shah. He has gone off, and it's prompted the arrival of the safety car. It means that Antonio Fitzcosta's hard-won advantage has been whittled down to absolutely nothing. Also into the pit lane comes Jeremy Timms, who has sustained considerable damage to his rear wing. So we've got Nick Robinson, and that is to take off slick tyres and put wets on, which I think is a fairly well-advised decision given the conditions. So the safety car goes back in, and the race gets underway with the green flag being waved. And already Chris Needham looking to challenge James Abbott as they sprint towards Rich's. That's where the pass is most likely to be, and Abbott just sticks to his guns, holds the middle of the road. There's no way through for Chris Needham on either side. And then he looks the outside line into Montreal again. That's going to be a little bit difficult. He is edged out of road by James Abbott, who is putting in a very fine defensive drive here. Again, he just plants the car in the middle of the road into Palmer, and Needham jinks the inside line, no way through there, and then runs just slightly wide of the apex. And so James Abbott showing that when he wants it to be, Stellara can be very, very wide. Tristan Cliff, though, still comfortably in command of the Cup class, and with the demise of Jeremy Timms, that promotes Dave Carrascus into the lead of the trophy class. So the very experienced Dave Carrascus, who has raced in pretty much every category, including historic Formula 1, leads that class, as Tristan Cliff pulls clear of James Abbott, who has withstood that initial challenge from Chris Needham, and Needham now slipping back slightly from him. Mark Harrison, and then we've got Gino Ussi and Mark Terry. Terry, another driver who's been campaigning in the F3 Cup for several seasons now. As Nick Robinson decides that he actually much prefers those wet tyres to the slicks that he started the race on, so he seeks to pick his way up through the field in the Mark Bailey racing car. Gino Ussi has got his hands full though with Mark Terry all over his tail. Terry, though, he can't quite draw alongside him at the moment. And it seems like a very, very long time ago when Mark Terry was inverted in an F3 Cup race here at Snetterton back in 2011. Haven't seen Mark in every race this year, but he has been out to play. He's been very, very competitive, as has Mark Harrison, who's been consistently towards the forefront of the field throughout the course of the season. Good battle a little bit further down the order between Tony Bishop and Stuart Wiltshire. Wiltshire at the moment in the number 4 car, just ahead of the black and silver number 7 car of Tony Bishop, who runs right underneath his rear wing. A lick of flame from Wiltshire on the downshift into the bomb hole. Fortunately for Tony Bishop, he can't quite capitalise. He again contemplates looking to the inside line into Coram Curve. He can't pick his way past there. He's into Montreal, go far too quickly as Gino Ussi, and he slides off onto the slick grass. And I wonder if he's going to be able to recover from there, because I suspect he's going to really struggle to regain some traction. So Gino Ussi, a very disappointing end to his season. He was just trying a little bit too hard to move clear of Mark Harrison. Yes, there you can see, I think he's lost the engine as well as past that pirouette. And Nick Robinson on those wet tyres, climbing up through the field as Tony Bishop spins right in front of him. Around goes Bishop. Robinson takes evasive action as into Bruntler Nelson for the final time goes Antonio Felix da Costa. Well, a week ago at Barcelona, he won the 2 final races of the World Series by Renault 3.5 litre championship. He also got to demonstrate a Red Bull Formula 1 car. He's here at Snetterton this weekend in the F3 Cup, and he has been in emphatic form as Tony Bishop looks to recover. At least he's got forward propulsion. Does he have any grip on grass? He does, just about. Be careful as you rejoin Tony. He bounces back on the track in the path of Antonio Felix da Costa, who accelerates on his way to the checkered flag. So over the line goes Antonio Felix da Costa. He takes the win and the double victory in the F3 Cup. I wonder how he'll do at Macau in a couple of weeks' time. Well, he certainly had a very, very successful induction into F3 racing. Second place and victory in the Cup class goes the way of Tristan Cliff, with 3rd in the race overall going to James Abbott. Juan Cerda claimed victory in the Masters class and the Trophy class. It was Dave Kraskus who held on all the way to checkered flag, as Jonathan Palmer, the Chief Executive of Motorsport Vision, on hand to do the honours with the trophy presentations. Very jubilant podium for the final round of the 2012 F3 Cup, which I'm sure will be back in 2013. Bigger and better as Antonio Felix da Costa jogs onto the podium, handshakes with all of his rivals, which is absolutely lovely to see. And a hug from Jonathan Palmer as well. Da Costa, superb performance this weekend as Omicron Racing celebrate the team championship, and the title overall goes to Chris Dittman, who wins a test drive in the FAA Formula 2 Championship.
So it's been a fantastic season for the F3 Cup.
It's been really important for F3 Cup. Now that MSVR have taken it over, it's really blossomed, and this is probably so loud, so noisy, you probably can't hear anything anymore. But no, it's really blossomed. Formula 3 has been really important to me ever since I won the championship in 1981. There are lots of the older Formula 3 cars around, and a lot of people eager to run them, and I hope we're not going to get sprayed in champagne here, you know. I'm relying on you to tell me. And Chris Dittman's done a super job.
He really has. What are the plans for next year?
Well, we're going to evolve it, but very carefully. You know, we want to make sure that we keep the right sort of cars in it. There is a new car, or a relatively new car, the 2008 Lara, but that I think we're going to hang on to for a few years to give the people with the older cars the chance to consolidate. They bought the cars to race them and be competitive. And I think once the 2008 cars cease to be used in the national class in the main championship, then they will join F3 Cup. So we'll continue to run it. I think it'll strengthen. I think it'll just expand.
At the end of an excellent season of the F3 Cup, this is how they finish, with the title going to Chris Dittman, Tristan Cliff a valiant second, and he is a comfortable Cup class victor. And in 3rd in the standings is Gino Ussi. Well, that's it from Snetterton Full Speed Racing. We look forward to you joining us in 2013.